Hi, this is Norm Haney. I'm with 1340 WBGN. I'm the host of The Sports Guys, which airs Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. You can always tune in live at 1340 a.m. or listening to us live on the internet at 1340WBGN.com. All right, got to give a lot of props to Willie Taggart and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, who have won 3 straight games, and they're right there in the hunt for a Sun Belt Conference championship. After a very tough start to the season, the Tops have really been playing good football, and they went into that bye week after that disappointing loss to Indiana State and have bounced back and showed a lot of character. That first game back from the bye week, they lose to Arkansas State, who is a perfect 4-0 in the conference right now, but that game came down to one play. If Western Kentucky wins that, they're the ones that are 4-0 in the Sun Belt. The Tops are at Louisiana Monroe this weekend, and it's a game, quite frankly, they should win. I know not too long ago we wouldn't have said that about any of the games on the schedule, but right now they're playing well, and this looks like a game they should win and win big. So a lot of credit. I was one of the guys, along with a lot of other people, that were a little critical of Coach Taggart, his coaching staff, and what looked like a team that really wasn't going anywhere. Well, I was wrong, and I'm happy to say it because it's a lot of fun following WKU football when they're winning, and let's hope they can keep it going and make it 4 straight wins. High school football wraps up the regular season this Friday night, and the Bowling Green Purples are still the #1 team in Class 5A with a perfect 9-0 record. They are going to be at Lexington Catholic this Friday night, and what a great game for Bowling Green, I think, to tune up for the playoffs by going on the road and playing a very, very good team in Lexington Catholic, always one of the top programs in the state of Kentucky. And you know, they'll be back next week at home for their first round playoff game against Owensboro Apollo. And right now, Bowling Green looks great. At this point, I would go out on the limb and say they're going to win the state championship. They look like they've got a championship caliber team, and we know that Coach Wallace and Coach Griff do a great job of getting their teams ready, and I think they're going to be ready. I think Bowling Green is certainly worthy of that #1 ranking. Warren Central will be at Pulaski County this weekend. Their first round opponent will be Graves County the following week. That game will be played over at Dragon Stadium, and Warren Central still very much in the thick of it with Bowling Green. The Purples did beat them 21-0 over at Moneybeard Field a few weeks back, but that game was pretty competitive. It was 6-0 in the third quarter. Central had some fumbles and things like that really hurt them. So, you know, if those teams play again over at Bowling Green High School, that should be a great game, and you can't really rule out Warren Central in a rematch, even though I would probably give the slight edge to Bowling Green if they do meet again. Let's hope they do. I think it'd be a great game and a lot of fun to watch. Warren East will be at home against Bullitt Central. That'll be your WBGN game of the week. Again, you can listen to that on 1340 a.m. or streaming live at 1340WBGN.com. And their first round opponent will be at Warren East. They'll play host to Owensboro, a team that struggled quite a bit this year, but has played well recently. They've won 2 in a row by pretty large margins, so maybe the Red Devils up in Owensboro will come down here and give Warren East a good run for their money. Warren East, another team, very, very talented. Coach Ben Bruni does a good job with his team, and you know, it'll be interesting to see what type of run they can put together. South Warren, how about the Spartans? Win last week at home against Adair County, clinch a playoff berth. They'll be on the road at Fort Campbell next week, and that is never an easy task. Fort Campbell has been an absolute powerhouse in Class 3A over the last 5 or 6 years. They've won a handful of state championships, so not an easy task for South Warren, but you really got to say congrats and tip your cap to Mark Nelson and his team. This is the first ever year they've had varsity football, and here it is. They're already going to make the playoffs and have won 3 games. So, you know, good for them. They've done a good job this year. And last but not least, Greenwood will be at home against Central Hardin. The Gators will play Ohio County on the road next week in their first round playoff match. And you know what? That's a winnable game for Greenwood. I tell you what, Greenwood is a team that's been a little bit inconsistent this year, but they've got some talent. They play very, very hard for Greg Kavanaugh, and I wouldn't rule them out. I wouldn't rule them out at all, as they have to go on the road and take on a pretty good Ohio County team. I believe they are 8-1 heading into this final week of the regular season. And last but not least, it's basketball season. I know they haven't tipped off the season yet. I know the NBA's in the middle of a lockout, but they're practicing basketball. We had the Hilltopper Hysteria, we had the Big Blue Madness, and the teams are practicing and getting ready for the season. It won't be long. I mean, we're a couple of weeks away from the college basketball season tipping off, and Kentucky fans should be extremely excited about this upcoming season. It's John Calipari's third season with the team. He's been to the Elite Eight, last year the Final Four, so naturally you would assume they will win the whole thing. And they've got a team that I think is capable of doing it. I think there's 3 or 4 teams that are clearly heads above the rest from a talent perspective in Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio State, maybe Connecticut and Duke are some of the other teams. But you know, Kentucky certainly, along with North Carolina, the 2 teams that stick out. Guys like Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Marcus Teague, all 3 freshmen coming in, expected to play a huge role on this team and be big-time contributors. Anthony Davis is a guy who's 6'10", can shoot the ball, handle it, you know, very, very well for a young man his size, and is projected as possibly the first pick in the NBA draft next year. So once again, Calipari restocking the shelves after another very talented freshman class left. But you bring back Darius Miller, you bring back Deron Lamb, you bring back Terrence Jones from last year's team, and this Kentucky team is loaded and ready to go. Kim McDonald and Western Kentucky, they will be an interesting year. I think people need to maybe temper their expectations just a little bit. They're going to be depending on freshman play a lot. You've got 7 freshmen coming in, but they're very good freshmen. Guys like Derek Gordon, George Fant from Warren Central, Vinny Zolo, who went to George Rogers Clark out in Winchester. These are guys I think that can come in and play right away, and it's just going to take a while, I think, for this team to really find its chemistry and start learning to play together, especially young guys. It's a different level of play, so we'll see. But I think it'll be a fun year for Hilltopper fans, and hopefully by the time March rolls around, this team will really be hitting its stride and ready to play. Last but not least, Louisville, I think, is going to have a very, very good year. They were picked 3rd in the preseason Big East poll. Rick Pitino has got a mix of a couple really good freshmen, and a guy like Shane Bohannon, who played here at Bowling Green, and Wayne Blackshear. Both those guys, I think, can contribute and play big parts on this year's team. But then you got guys like Peyton Siva and Kyle Couric that were a big part of Louisville's 25-win season last year. So I like it. It's a nice mix of good experience, talented players with that youthful energy that Bohannon and Blackshear should bring. Well, that's going to do it. Appreciate Buy Local BG, and until next week, I'm Norm Haney of 1340 The Ticket. Appreciate you watching.
I keep it player while some choose to play it safe. But check the resume, it's risky business in the A. And I've been witness to this history ever since the 10th grade. We went from rock and brace to 10th phase. I twist my A head to the side just for style, or throw on the Gucci bucket with the fly, super fly. Wow, the Southern private known to shut it down.